The planet Lysera shone like a jewel in the vast galaxy, its skies glittering with colors no human eye had ever seen. Towers of crystal reached high above the clouds, reflecting the light of twin suns in patterns that made the city look alive. Among these towers lived a tiny princess named Leora. She was smaller than the average Lyceran, barely reaching the knees of her peers, and her delicate wings were unlike the strong, imposing wings of other alien females. But her mind was sharp, her spirit bold, and her heart full of courage. Leora had spent most of her life in the royal palace, surrounded by those who respected her rank, but never her presence. The alien males of Lysera were proud and strong, and most had no interest in someone so different. They often whispered behind her back, questioning why the princess was even allowed to rule. She is too small, too fragile, too unusual, they said. Leora tried to ignore them, but their rejection was a constant shadow, following her even into the brightest halls of the palace. Despite the coldness around her, Leora refused to give in. She spent her time studying, inventing small machines, and observing the skies, imagining worlds beyond her own. Sometimes she wondered if there was anyone who could see her for who she really was. She had begun to lose hope, thinking that no one in the galaxy would ever understand her. One bright morning, a strange ship appeared above the palace, its metal sleek and unfamiliar. The palace alarm rang, and servants ran to alert the royal guard. Leora, curious as always, flew to the balcony to see. The ship landed softly in the royal courtyard, and from it emerged a human man. He was tall, with broad shoulders and eyes that seemed to study everything with quiet intelligence. He moved carefully, as if he were aware he was in a world not his own. The alien guards tensed, unsure whether to attack or welcome him. The human raised his hands in peace. "I am here on a mission of exploration," he said, his voice calm and steady, though the Lyceran language was foreign to him. He held a small device that began translating his words instantly. Leora watched him closely. There was something different about him. He did not act proud or arrogant, and there was a kindness in his gaze that the alien males had never shown her. The first encounter was brief, but it left an impression on both of them. Leora felt curiosity stir inside her, a feeling she had not experienced in a long time. The human, whose name was Ethan, was unlike anyone she had ever met. He asked questions about her inventions, about the palace, about her world. He listened when she spoke, genuinely interested, without any hint of ridicule or judgment. A week passed, and Lysera faced an unexpected crisis. The planet's energy shields, which protected the royal city from the harsh solar winds, began to fail. Alarms blared throughout the palace, and panic spread among the royal court. The alien males argued over protocol, each wanting to appear strong, each too proud to act without orders from above. Leora watched helplessly, realizing that inaction could cost lives. Ethan, however, did not hesitate. He examined the shield generators with quick, careful movements. The Lyceran engineers were baffled by his methods, yet they could not deny his skill. Leora joined him, guiding his hands to reach parts of the machinery that were too small or delicate for alien engineers. Together they worked in perfect harmony, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. The shields began to stabilize, and the crisis was averted. For the first time, Leora felt something she had never felt with her own people: recognition. Ethan looked at her with respect, as if she were not just a tiny princess but a partner, a mind to be trusted. The alien males, on the other hand, watched from a distance, their expressions twisting with jealousy and confusion. How could a human, a species they considered weak and unworthy, perform what they could not? In the following days, Ethan remained in the palace under royal permission, learning about Lyceran culture and sharing stories of his own world. He marveled at the delicate beauty of Leora's inventions and asked endless questions about her thoughts and ideas. Leora, who had been ignored and belittled for so long, found herself talking freely, laughing, and even enjoying moments of quiet together. The bond between them grew quickly, not because of appearances or power, but because of understanding. One afternoon, Leora and Ethan ventured to the palace gardens, a vast area of luminous plants and floating streams of water. Leora showed him a miniature flying device she had invented, one small enough to ride for someone her size. She demonstrated its movements, weaving gracefully between flowers and trees. Ethan clapped in genuine admiration. "That is brilliant, Leora. "I have never seen anything like it," he said. She blushed, unused to such sincere praise. But not everyone was pleased. The alien males whispered in the shadows. "Why does she spend time with that human? What does he see in her?" They muttered. Their rejection of her only seemed to deepen as they realized that she was beginning to trust someone outside her species. One evening, a formal gathering was held in the grand hall of the palace. The alien males presented themselves with pride, hoping to regain favor with the princess. They displayed wealth, strength, and ceremonial skills, but Leora barely noticed. Her eyes kept drifting to Ethan, who quietly observed the festivities, asking thoughtful questions about the history of Lysera and the lives of its people. For the first time, Leora realized that strength was not measured by size, wealth, or tradition. True strength came from courage, kindness, and understanding. Later that night, Leora confided in Ethan. "All my life I have been judged for being small, for being different. The males of my world do not respect me. I have almost forgotten what it feels like to be seen." Ethan listened carefully, nodding. "I see you, Leora, and I respect you. Your size does not make you weak. Your courage, your mind, your heart, those are what make you strong." Her heart swelled with emotion. For the first time, she felt hope that she could exist in the galaxy, not just as a tiny alien princess, but as someone who mattered, someone who could make a difference. Ethan's words were simple, yet they carried a weight that resonated through her entire being. The days that followed were filled with shared discoveries. Leora and Ethan explored parts of the palace few had ever seen, experimented with alien and human technologies combined, and even practiced small flights and maneuvers in the palace gardens. Their teamwork was seamless, a dance of intellect and courage, and with each success, Leora's confidence grew. The alien males, however, remained dismissive and mocking. They saw the human as an intruder, someone unworthy of her attention. Their scorn could have discouraged Leora, but she found herself growing indifferent to their opinions. For the first time, she realized that she did not need their approval to be valuable or respected. One morning, a message arrived from the Lyceran Council. Another planet in the galaxy nearby but hostile was rumored to be planning an attack on Lysera. Panic rippled through the royal court. The alien males argued over what to do, each suggesting strategies that were traditional but ineffective. Leora, however, approached Ethan. "We need a new plan," she said. "One that they cannot predict. One that uses what we know, not what they assume." Ethan agreed, and together they began devising strategies, combining human tactics with Leora's knowledge of Lysera's defenses. Leora felt exhilaration in being trusted, in having someone who valued her ideas and allowed her to take the lead. They spent long hours analyzing maps, running simulations, and testing defensive mechanisms. Every success made the bond between them stronger, and every failure was met with learning, not blame. As the sun set on the palace, casting golden light across the city, Leora realized something important. For the first time, she was not alone in the galaxy. There was someone who could see her, respect her, and stand beside her. The alien males, with all their strength and pride, had failed to offer her that. Only this human, brave and clever, had managed to understand her. The first part of Leora's story ended with her looking out over the sparkling city, Ethan standing beside her, both aware that their partnership was unusual but powerful. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and challenges, yet for the first time Leora felt ready to face it. Not as a tiny princess rejected by her own kind, but as someone who had found trust, respect, and possibly even friendship, and maybe something more, with a human who saw her true worth. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, and Lysera was no exception. Only days after Leora had begun to trust Ethan fully, word arrived that a hostile fleet was moving toward their planet. The Lyceran Council sent urgent messages throughout the crystal towers, and the entire palace was thrown into chaos. The alien males argued endlessly, each wanting to appear the strongest, each unwilling to accept help from anyone outside their tradition. Leora watched them with a mix of frustration and quiet amusement. Their pride had always blinded them, and now it threatened the safety of everyone she cared about. Ethan, however, remained calm. He studied the star maps and fleet reports, analyzing the enemy's movements. He did not speak loudly or try to dominate the council, but his presence drew the attention of those willing to think differently. Leora joined him, pointing out weaknesses in the defenses that only someone of her small stature could notice. Together, they began creating a plan that combined Lizaran technology with human strategy. The alien males scoffed when they saw Ethan's proposals. "A human cannot understand galactic warfare," one said, his wings flicking in irritation. Another muttered, "What could a species so weak do that we cannot?" Leora ignored them. She knew that true strength was not in arrogance or size, but in courage, creativity, and action. She trusted Ethan because he had proven himself, not because he belonged to her species. As the hostile fleet approached, Lysira's defenses were ready. Ethan had suggested reorganizing the shield generators to create overlapping fields, making the energy shields more difficult to penetrate. Leora had designed miniature drones that could navigate tight spaces to repair damage in real time, something the larger alien engineers could not do. The combination of human innovation and alien knowledge created an unexpected advantage. The first attack came at dawn. Enormous ships moved through the atmosphere, their weapons aiming at the crystal towers. The Lizaran guards prepared to retaliate, but the alien males hesitated, unsure if their traditional strategies would work. Ethan moved confidently, directing drones, adjusting shields, and communicating with Leora. She flew beside him, small and fast, guiding the devices through narrow pathways and ensuring they repaired any damage instantly. The battle raged for hours. Energy beams cut across the sky, illuminating the city with harsh, bright flashes. Leora's heart pounded with fear and excitement. She had always known her small size could be an advantage, but she had never imagined using it to save her entire planet. Each time a drone repaired a shield section or deflected an attack, she felt a surge of pride. Ethan remained calm, speaking softly to her, giving instructions and encouraging her when the danger seemed overwhelming. The alien males tried to interfere, but their brute force and pride caused mistakes. Leora realized that without Ethan's guidance, their efforts might have failed completely. She felt a strange mix of anger and pity for them. They were so confident in tradition that they could not see the value of collaboration. The humans and aliens who had learned from Ethan's methods moved quickly, repairing damage, rescuing civilians, and maintaining morale. At one critical moment, an enemy ship broke through the outer shields and headed straight for the palace. Panic surged through the royal court. Leora did not hesitate. She activated a small drone she had specially designed, a tiny but powerful device that could latch onto the enemy ship's weapon systems. Flying at incredible speed, she guided it through narrow corridors and tight passages, dodging enemy fire. Ethan followed in a larger transport, coordinating with the palace defenses and ensuring her plan succeeded. The drone attached to the ship and disabled its weapons in a brilliant display of precision and courage. The ship spiraled out of control and crashed harmlessly into a nearby mountain. Cheers erupted from the Lizaran engineers and palace staff. Leora landed beside Ethan, her tiny wings quivering from exertion, but her eyes shone with triumph. For the first time, she felt truly powerful, not because of her royal title, but because she had made a real difference. After the battle, the alien males were silent. They could not argue with the results. The human had not only survived, but had led strategies that saved countless lives. The tiny princess had proven that intelligence, courage, and collaboration mattered more than size or tradition. For the first time, Leora felt a profound sense of equality with someone outside her species. She no longer needed the approval of those who had rejected her. She had found respect and partnership where she least expected it. The council held a ceremony to honor the heroes. Ethan stood quietly, receiving accolades with modesty, while Leora's tiny form fluttered beside him. When it was her turn to speak, she looked at the alien males who had doubted her. Her voice was calm but strong. This victory was not won by size, rank, or tradition. It was won by courage, intelligence, and teamwork. And it was won because someone saw me, not for my stature, but for my mind and my heart. A murmur spread through the audience. Some of the alien males tried to hide their shame, while others simply looked away. Leora turned to Ethan, her eyes shining with gratitude and something more. "You believed in me when no one else did," she said softly. "You saw me for who I really am." Ethan smiled, a quiet, gentle smile that made her heart flutter. "I did not see a tiny princess," he said. "I saw a person who could change the galaxy, and I am proud to stand beside you." The bond between them grew even stronger after that day. Leora spent hours teaching Ethan more about Lizaran culture, and he shared stories of Earth, of human struggles and triumphs. They laughed together, explored the palace and the surrounding lands, and even began working on inventions that combined their knowledge. The people of Lysira watched in awe as the princess and the human moved together as equals, a team stronger than anyone had imagined. Even the alien males began to change, slowly realizing that their old ways were flawed. Some approached Leora cautiously, offering respect where there had once been arrogance. She acknowledged them politely but made it clear that her loyalty and admiration belonged to those who had proven their courage and character. One evening, as the twin suns set over the sparkling city, Leora and Ethan stood on a high balcony, watching the golden light reflect off the crystal towers. "I used to feel so small," Leora said quietly, her wings trembling slightly in the soft breeze. "I thought no one could ever value me. And then you arrived." Ethan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You were never small, Leora, you were just unseen. Now the galaxy can see what I've always known. You are strong, clever, and brave, and nothing anyone says can change that." For the first time in her life, Leora felt complete. She had found a true partner in the human who had not only respected her, but had stood by her side in battle and in thought. She realized that the galaxy did not have to define her by alien standards or traditions. She could choose her own path, and she had chosen someone who saw her for everything she truly was. The story ended not with a grand wedding or celebration, but with quiet understanding. Leora and Ethan walked through the glowing palace gardens, their minds and hearts aligned. The galaxy was full of challenges, but together they were stronger than any enemy, smarter than any problem, and braver than any fear. Leora had been rejected by the males of her species, but in that rejection, she had found a greater truth. Love, respect, and courage were not bound by species, size, or tradition. They were bound by the choices people made, the actions they took, and the hearts that dared to see beyond appearances. And in Ethan, she had found the rarest gift of all, a human who saw her not as a tiny princess, but as a force capable of changing the galaxy. As they disappeared into the glowing light of Lysira's evening, the tiny princess and the human man walked side by side, ready to face the future together, knowing that together, nothing could stand in their way.